ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome into another edition of Deportes Nation, live at night. There's the big reveal. I'm Alex Parra. Beside me, what's her name again? Hold on, let me read this good. Norma Morales. Miss Norma Morales. I'm not familiar with the name.
My real name is Norma Linda Alex, but I'll let you call me Norma. That's
Norma
fine.
Linda. So does anybody ever call you Linda?
No, they don't actually. No, they just call me
Would you like
Norma.
to be called Linda?
No.
Okay, I'm just wondering. But your full name is Norma Linda.
Yeah, my full name is Norma Linda.
That's a good name, Norma Linda. It sounds like two names to me, but it's just one long name.
It is two names.
Norma Linda Contreras Vasquez Fernandez.
You're close.
De la Morales.
You're exactly.
Did I offend someone? We're 30 seconds in. I'm sure I already offended somebody. Norma, good evening. How are you? Norma Linda. Good evening. How are you? And ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Norma, I'm working on the sharing. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to do it. But first of all, how are you this evening and how's life, Norma?
Life's good.
Yeah?
Life's good. Yeah, life's good. Tomorrow's Friday. Great week. So yeah, I can't complain.
Really?
How about you? Yeah.
How am I doing? You know, Uncle Alex is always a little depressed. It's just the way I live, Norma. COVID is doing its trick on me, so
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say that, but to say that it's happening. What was I going to ask you, Norma? Anything that's on your mind here before we start the show officially? And you'll have to tell me if we're live on the social media.
Yeah, I see that we're live. I'm hoping on my end I see it. Hopefully, who's tuning in now, maybe they can confirm and if they see us as well.
If they want to see Alex and Norma Linda, one day I'll share with you, Norma, what my real name is.
Okay.
Not my alias. Obviously, that interested you a lot. That's great, but no one asked, Alex.
Well, what is it? I mean, you already
No, not now.
So
no, if I have to beg, it's just not really worth it.
Well, let's see what the audience. Does the audience want to know what your real name is?
Well, half the audience, which is my mother, would know. I hope, unless she forgot. So the other half is your mother, who may not know. So we'll see how interested they are. So, Norma, I guess I share this. I really have no clue, but. Let's just hope that it's out there in the world of Facebook. Norma, how long have you been on Facebook, by the way? I always make this comment. You've got a lot of friends. I guess I'm just jealous. But when did you start this Facebook odyssey?
I want to say 2000. I gotta look, Alex. Now that I know it was when my son was born. So he was born 2009.
Right. So there you go, about 11 years.
So I think 2008 maybe, like right before he was born. So I gotta look to see.
Is Facebook all you hoped it would be, Norma? So many years later, is this a way? I mean, how do you use it? I frankly don't know how to use it. If I need to talk to someone, I pick up the phone. I don't communicate via this vehicle.
Yeah, well, I think it's a great way to connect with people, meaning, keeping in touch with people you haven't seen for years and seeing pictures and also just keeping up with the news. And I mean, there's so much that Facebook offers though,
Well, they offer this live, so I'm excited about that. This is my top reason for being on Facebook.
They offer this to us for now until they start seeing it. They may block us moving forward for any more shows, right?
Or if more people watch, they'll start charging us. No, this is a business. I get it. I'm not under the illusions of it. But now, let's talk generationally. The younger crowd is not on Facebook every night checking out Deportes Nation. Frankly, maybe nobody is.
No, I think the more like younger generation, I'm talking, I'm just, again, going by what my daughter tells me and what she's on is, they're more on the Snapchat and Instagram.
So what do kids today do, Norma? They stream like Netflix and that kind of thing, right? That's how
Oh
they
yeah.
connect.
Yeah, Netflix is the thing. Netflix is, if that ever shuts down, I'm sure
Oh,
I know my daughter would
or
be
YouTube.
upset.
By the way, we're live on YouTube, and
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
YouTube.
double check that. That's another great way, if you want to watch Deportes Nation, that you can do it. And again, unless there's something wrong with the buttons, we should be on live, and I think we are, Norma, which is fantastic. A grand total of 0 viewers, so that's really exciting.
Well, I love YouTube though. I mean, that's the best creation, right? In technology, just because of the fact that if you want to learn to do something, you could YouTube it. If you want to know about a certain place, you could YouTube it. Because there's someone out there is making a video of something. If you want to learn how to garden, you YouTube
You
it.
YouTube it. If you want to,
Yeah.
yeah, anything, pretty much anything you want can be found on YouTube. That's that's
Right.
that's democracy at work, Norma. I guess that's good, but then you also have to be careful because when everything's out there, I'm not into censorship, but you've got to be careful also what's out there, right?
Right. Yeah.
No comment. We
I
just
mean,
left it in. Right. Move on.
well, I was talking positive about YouTube, about how great it was. Then you wanted to talk about censorship and everything
No,
else.
I didn't say that. I'm just trying not to get there. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for joining Norma Linda. I just learned that tonight. By the way, well, I won't get into the intimate details, but how was your anniversary evening after the show? You're still in love? Let me just ask that.
Yes, I'm still in love. I mean, we didn't get done with the show till what, 11?
Yes.
After that, I was tired. I was
Well, at
done
your
for the
age,
day.
they just rolled you back into the closet, I guess. Right? She's done. Let's roll her back. Norma, life goes
though.
by fast, though, huh? Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's amazing. Well, ladies and
surely
gentlemen,
does.
we are trying our best to keep you entertained and keep you informed, and we're giving this a shot. This is week number 2, almost the end of week number 2, Norma. I didn't think we'd get past show number 1. So we're here, and we hope to not disappear anytime soon, but it's really up to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tolerating us. And please let us know where, chime in, at least give us a quick shout out or say, hey, you guys are idiots, please move on. Or let Norma take over the show and kick the old man out, please. Anything. And Norma, you'll keep us aware, right, of any any comments, because I always miss that. Norma, well, let's get started. And tonight, I wanted to start with a little bit of news that we normally don't speak of. And we'll have a lot of women's sports discussion or topics tonight, but there was a story that came out here in the last couple of days. A softball team, women's softball team, typically it's women's softball, although men play softball too. This particular team playing out of Montgomery County, that's north of Houston. Houston is Harris County, Montgomery County just north of Harris County, the Houston area. It's a team of several Olympians, U.S. Olympian women softball players. And it's a traveling team. It's an all-star team. They were in Florida, and there's been a dispute regarding the usage of what they're doing, meaning prior to a game, standing for the national anthem. Their general manager, this team is called the Scrap Yard Dogs, DAWGS. That's what it is. And they were in Florida yesterday playing a game in this league, and apparently the players took objection to a tweet that went out from the general manager. They are saying, the ladies, that they were taken hostage in order to make a political statement. So let's go to a soundbite, by the way, courtesy of Fox 7, who interviewed one of the players. You may know her, Kat Osterman. She is a decorated softball player. She's a U.S. Olympian. So let's go to that soundbite. Let's listen to her, and maybe this will give you a better context of what it is that they were thinking and talking about.
I think most of us were just shocked and stunned because we had, felt like this was an opportunity for us to really make a statement in the fact that, we were being able to play softball. We were being able to be on the field and stream it for people to see and give kind of a sense of normalcy to some people. And, personally just feel like that moment was hijacked and made into, a personal agenda. And, that doesn't sit well with any of us.
Did all of you walk away from the team?
Yes. So we spoke last night, and I will make it clear, it has nothing to do with the anthem. It has nothing to do with standing or kneeling. It has everything to do with the fact that it was ignorant and insensitive right now in the environment we're in. And, for Scrapyard in particular, their number one draft pick ever is a black athlete, and Kiki Stokes has been with them for 5 years. And, for all of us, we felt like that was a slap in the face to her and the Black Lives Matter movement at the moment. And so, we talked about it. And, I think overall, all of us were very upset. And by the end of the night, or I should say by the end of the team meeting, all of us had decided we were done playing for Scrapyard.
Where do you guys go now?
Yeah, right now we're taking a little bit of time to figure out what that can look like. There have been talks about possibly playing under a different uniform. We do want to be able to take this stance and be able to do something with an impact, the younger athletes, and let them realize what we do stand for, and eventually clarify the confusion of, a lot of people are confusing it, that we don't stand with the anthem or for the anthem and the flag and all that. And there's just so much more to it, and it's not that basic.
So they're the words of Kat Osterman, Norma, and I hope all of you were able to hear it. If you weren't, please let us know. I hope the audio is working on these sound bites, Norma. The bottom line, as you heard, we felt that again, we were used for political reasons. The actual tweet itself, and I'll do my best to read this, Norma, from the general manager, was basically saying something to the effect that ad real Donald Trump, pro fast pitch being played live, a reference to the leagues, everyone respecting the flag. And it was a picture of the ladies right before the game, hand on chest during the national anthem. So it's been politicized. Whether you agree or disagree with the general manager, whether you agree or disagree with the players, it's now become an issue that these ladies felt so strongly. And there may be more to the story. They mentioned Black Lives Matters. They mentioned a black softball player that was drafted by the Scrapyard Dogs. The point is, Norma, athletes are now taking exception to the way their image is being used to portray apparently a political message or not, and literally quitting, literally saying, we're done playing for this team. We're looking at our options. I dare say, I don't think an NFL player with a contract would get to this point probably, unless he wants to leave money on the table. I guess that's always an option. Those contracts are probably more airtight. I would dare say that ladies playing in a professional softball league are not making NFL or NBA money. But what are your thoughts, Norma? Did the ladies do the right thing? What if half of them had said yes, half no? How far is this going now? Meaning the political message, a tweet apparently led to this situation.
I mean, right now at this time, Alex, I mean, this is what we talk about almost every day, right? So, the baseball team actually using that picture, I mean, the general manager, and not really, I don't think,
getting permission?
Exactly, not getting consent from the players themselves in regards to, hey guys, we know this subject's sensitive at this time. We would like to post this. They should have been a little bit more sensitive in regards to it and got those players' opinions, or at least their consent in regards to it. That's what I think. And and it was good to hear, and this is just my opinion, that Kat was talking about the 5-year player that's been there, and she felt like it was pretty much of a slap in the face. So they're sticking up for their teammates as well, and they believe in the Black Lives Matter, of course, and that movement. But it's like saying your boss is putting something out there that is saying that their employees are believing in something where they have no earthly they don't have no clue in regards to how they feel. And of course, it's going to the public. So now the public is thinking that these team members are now, in the political movement at this point,
right.
Which.
Norma,
go ahead, Alex.
Norma, I think there's more to this story, but why quit? Isn't the logical response to go back to that general manager and say, hey, what happened here? Let's clarify it. that most of us don't support that. They might even be able to get the same amount of coverage and press. I don't necessarily think that's what they were seeking. But why maybe the reaction is because they did have a team meeting and maybe this was discussed. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe this is one of many issues with the team, and this maybe was the final straw. That's another way to look at it. But is quitting and protesting that way the answer? These ladies who have dedicated, in some cases, I imagine, I don't have the details, many years of their lives for softball are no longer playing. I'm sure they'll find another team because of the quality of player. But was that the right way to do it? Meaning, if I'm angry at something, do I just walk out? It could be taken as that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see both ways. Yeah, I could see maybe there were things that were leading to this, and maybe this was the last straw for them. Or it could be, Alex, like I said, a lot of people have strong feelings about this,
Sure.
And it could be that they say, you know what, no, that's not what I believe in. I'm going to stand for it. I'm going to make a statement, and that's it. So it could be both ways. Again, we don't really know the full story on the back end of it.
Norma, the Me Too movement, what's happened after in the last month or so with what many feel, and rightly so, was an injustice of police brutality, the evaluation, the discussion about monuments and history. People are standing up and have a voice. Norma, I watch sports shows now, and similar to Deportes Nation, the majority of the show is spent on political aspects, on the rights. I see that as a good thing. I know people don't want to talk about that. Again, people don't want to talk politics because it's controversial. People don't want to talk about religion because it's controversial. But we're at the point in time where I think it has to be done. Why? Because there's a disenchantment in our country. There's people that have felt oppressed, rights that for many have been abused for many years, and it's time to stand up. And this is a way to do it and to continue the conversation. Again, as long as it's a respectful conversation, Norma,
right.
I think we're headed in the right direction. Now, there are those, and I'm going to use this word, in the establishment who don't want change, who don't want to have a new anything. They want to continue the way we're going. And you hear me every night, Norma. I am frustrated by our government. I am frustrated by our leadership. It is time for a change. And the reality of those, Norma, are things going to change? And by the way, we just lost half the audience, Norma. Again, when Uncle Alex starts preaching, people say, adios.
Next clip.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on, please, because that's not working.
Next soundbite.
Well, but again, and I get it. I bet you there's some people at home, Norma, that sit here and don't bother me. I don't want to know about that. I don't want to be bothered with that. And there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of people out there that eventually also, Norma, unfortunately, in a public place, and we've seen videos of this, of men and women of all races, Norma, just going off. Yeah. It's getting to that point. That to me is not healthy. We have to have these conversations. We're not going to force anyone, Norma, but that's an important part of this. So there you go. The scrapyard dogs out of Montgomery County. Frankly, I didn't know they existed. So at least maybe gives them a little bit of promotion, at least to what they're trying to accomplish. Norma, continuing with women's sports, let's switch gear to soccer. And today, FIFA made this announcement.
And now, I can announce the host country of the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023, which will be Australia.
In slow motion so you can feel it. You can hear it, Norma. So a celebration. Why? Because it's official now that the 2023 Women's World Cup will be held by two countries, Australia and New Zealand. Norma, your initial thoughts about this? I think it's great that we're talking about women's sports.
Yeah, how excited they get. That's how excited I get when you tell me you're going to take me to eat at like at a taqueria or something, right?
That's how
I
excited you get when
understand
you
they're
find out you're by yourself on the show. Yes, no Alex. Yes.
No, and that's great news. I'm happy. I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they're going to be able to host it. I mean, that's like at any city. I think in any sport, Alex, we get excited when the Super Bowl was here in Houston. How excited were we? And so I think. I know I was excited, but no, I think that's great, especially for women's soccer, and I think that's great for them.
G'day, Norma Linda. G'day, Sheila. Akadaka. Yeah, I need to learn my Australian now, Norma.
Yeah, you need a little bit more practice, but
G'day,
you'll get there.
G'day, mates, and welcome. Norma, interestingly enough, we have a little graphic here that talks about the Women's World Cup. We've had 8 tournaments held. This will be the 9th. You can go back and look a little bit at the history. United States has hosted twice and won in 4 occasions. They're the defending champion, if you can remember. So obviously, the United States, right behind them, Germany, as successful in the Women's World Cup. But it's been everywhere. Obviously, in Asia, in Europe, in the Americas. Lastly, in Europe, of course, in France, and now going to Australia and New Zealand. It's really great. And this tradition now, if you think about it, only since 1991 was the first Women's World Cup, Norma. It's barely been 22 years, 91, 2001, whatever the math is, Norma, because I'm lost here. Almost 20 years. I think that's great. And we need to uphold the tradition and support it. And I'm glad for our daughters, for our sons, for anyone that watches the sport. And Norma, what do you think? Should we book our flight already to Auckland, New Zealand? Are you ready to book your flight?
Well, no, not right now with COVID, but well, it's in 2023. I don't know. We got 3 more years. Hopefully, things will slow down by then, right? So,
or Uncle Alex may not be here. I don't know.
I think Australia, New Zealand would be pretty cool to go to. I've never been, so.
Never been. Long flight is my understanding, but it would be fun. It would be great to support it.
It'd be nice.
I am excited about it, and hopefully, maybe they even open up the tournament so more and more teams qualify. You've seen the level of women's soccer improve year after year, Norma. I know we've seen it locally. I've seen it at the high school and collegiate level. Norma, you and I were at a tournament which we love to support in the Houston area, the I-10 shootout, and I could not believe the quality of play. It's a preseason tournament. And the quality of play is fantastic. I mean, I hope you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a big advocate of women and women's sports, and I sincerely believe that the future of the sport of soccer is or are women. So just again, excitement. I'm glad it's going to Australia and New Zealand. The other country, Norma, that was in second place, by the way, Colombia. So it would have been interesting also to have a Latin American country hosting. That would be nice too. I think the history of soccer, football in Latin America has been that, ladies, girls don't play that.
Right.
And it's changing, and that's a good thing.
No, it would be nice for Colombia to have it hosted there. Like you said, it's more of a male-dominant sport, I should say. But I think it would be great if they had it. That'd be something I'd look forward to. I'd like to go to Colombia to go see that.
I'd rather go to New Zealand, but anyway.
I'd like to go see both, but
Some Colombianos are going to be offended, Norma, by that. Why? You don't want to go to Colombia? What's wrong with you? All right. They want to fight. So there it is. I think that's really, really good news, Norma, for the Women's World Cup. What do you, ladies and gentlemen, think? Are you excited at all? Or it's like, well, let's talk about something else, Uncle Alex. So hopefully that people in go out and support it more than anything. I think watch more women's soccer. And by the way, the NWSL, Norma, still on track in spite of what happened with the team from Orlando to begin the tournament this weekend. It'll be the first official, I believe, if I'm not wrong, let's call it major professional sports league in the United States starting up games. So they're definitely the first. We can argue whether or not they're a major sports league or not. We can have that conversation. But certainly by this weekend, we'll start seeing the team. And we want to wish Norma, the local team for us, the Houston Dash, the best of luck in the tournament.
Yeah.
We know several of those young ladies, those players, and they represent the sport very at a very high level. They represent very well.
Yeah, have you seen the training shirts that they're selling right now?
I have
for Pride
not,
Month?
Norma. No.
No, I should have told you. You could have put a pic. Maybe tomorrow.
Well, talk
They
to your
have the new-
producer. Look, my producer and your producer don't talk, so.
They don't talk. No, they have the new Pride shirts. It's the new training shirts, and they're pretty cool. I like it. I actually want to try to buy one.
Norma,
just to support Dash in that.
you brought up Pride, and I think it's important that we. It's amazing to me how generationally, I look at my children, and anyone younger than me, which is pretty much everybody that's watching
Everybody.
this. The issue of pride and the concept of respect is now almost a given, Norma. There's never an issue. Oh well, he is with her partner, with his partner. She is with her partner. It doesn't matter anymore. And I may sound like an ignorant old man, but I'm so that makes me happy, Norma. That we've overcome that. I think there's still some entrenched people that just don't get it, and I think that's their fault. That's their problem. They've got to deal with this. But again, I'm excited that leagues, WNBA, the NWSL, other leagues, mainly male athletes, understand, respect, and celebrate Pride and Pride Week and Pride Month and Pride Year and Pride in general.
Yeah, no, I agree, Alex. That's why I want to buy that training shirt. It's just, again, just supporting the whole Pride Month and supporting the Dash. I think it's just a great opportunity to do that. And, maybe we can show that jersey tomorrow. I think I like it.
I can model it if you would like, Norma. Too much? Maybe not? Again, ratings just dropped, apparently.
Yeah, I know.
Bad idea. All right, maybe I won't be modeling the Pride shirt. There you go. Norma, I wanted to switch a little bit, and we're talking about some social issues, if you will. I was reading something really interesting that came across today from the Texas Tribune publication, talking about Texas Hispanic population that has grown more than 2 million since 2010. This is according to a new estimate of the U.S. Census Bureau, talking about demographics of Hispanics. The state's largest population predicted to be by 2021. And to me, Norma, it really just is amazing that we can get to the point that the increase from 2010 to 2019 over 2 million. The estimate for 2019, Norma, for Hispanics in Texas, 11.5 million, 3.5 black, 11.9 white, 1.4 Asian. Again, these are their numbers, the U.S. Census Bureau. But it's amazing, Norma, how Hispanics, pretty much I can say, are no longer a minority, even in terms of numbers, but we're the majority. Again, to me, it's not a shock or a surprise. I think we've very quietly been here, Norma, even before Texas or the United States were established. Our culture, our legacy, if you will. So it's again, this shows, what is this showing? What is the point of this that I'm trying to make? Our country continues to evolve, but that's not a bad thing, Norma.
No, it's diversity. I remember growing up, Alex.
Do you remember that far back?
In high school, there was not that many Latinos that were in my high school. The majority of them were white. Not a very big percentage of blacks, not a very big percentage of Asians. We were a minority. And, as I grew older and I kind of expanded outside my town, went to college and then moved to here in Houston, I saw wow, especially Houston's very diverse. And then now Katy, in this area where I live in, or close by, it's a very, very diverse. You have people all around, the world, of course. But, for the population, for Hispanics to be growing that high, that's great. I think it's good. It's good to have some diversity.
It is. Well, I'm going to just add to that, Norm. I think it's more than some diversity. I think what you're seeing is that Hispanics, I'm going to use this term, we, are becoming the majority. Now, the question is, Norma, are we equally represented in government? Great question. I think the answer I can tell you from what basic research I've done is no, based on numbers. And also, we're a diverse community, Norma. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions, that Hispanics are this. They're going to vote this way. They think this way. You just mentioned diversity, Norma. There are people, Hispanics. Let's use that term. I'm not comfortable because we're all people at the end of the day, right? But let's go ahead and use that term. There are Hispanics with Cuban backgrounds, Norma, that are staunchly Republican and conservative because of the experience they've had with the Castro and the communist regime in Cuba. It makes sense. I understand it. There are other Hispanics that were maybe third or fourth or fifth generation born in the United States whose experience is completely different. There are first generation Hispanics from Mexico, from, excuse me, from Latin America. And it is definitely a different take on life. So we can't all be pigeonholed, Norma. It's not that simple to say Hispanics are this type of person or people.
Yeah, I mean,
even
within Hispanics, even within Hispanics, we're all different, right? So, and talking about Hispanics and politics, Alex, I have to say I'm really proud of Lina Hidalgo for being our county judge in Harris County. Smart lady. I didn't realize she was actually from Katy. Alex, did you know that?
I did not. She went to school in Katy?
Yeah, Seven Lakes.
I did not
Is
know
what
that.
I read.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
We'll have to have her on the show. Let's see if we can get her on the show, Norma.
I know. You've got some strings to pull, Alex. So I'd like to. That's one person I would really like to meet. I mean, just because of the fact she's Hispanic, she's very well educated. It's in the political field, of course, being the county judge, helping us. I'm very proud of her just to get where she's at, and where she came from. So it's good.
Latinas in positions of power, of decision making, I think is good, Norma. Now, the previous judge, Judge Emmett, also to me, Norma was a good leader. We went through a lot of things. Right. Natural disasters with flooding
with Harvey
and other things. So it's not like the previous judge, who I believe they ran against each other, and Lina Hidalgo won. To me, my perspective, it wasn't. We went from a horrible situation, and now Judge Hidalgo has really been handed just an amazing situation. I don't know who would be equipped to handle COVID and this situation, but yeah, let's see if we can get her on the show, Norma. And you're right, that shows and demonstrates that young ladies can, Latinas can, and we as men and the public need to support. And again, if you oppose, if you don't agree with everything Judge Hidalgo has to do or say, the decisions she makes, vote, participate. That's the way we can do this. So I think it's good news, Norma, about the numbers. And previously, again, these numbers to me are not a shock or a surprise. We live in Norma. Everywhere I went since I've been in Houston since the 80s. Latinos were everywhere. Spanish spoken everywhere. Yeah. We've even gotten over that, Norma. I remember years ago when speaking Spanish was looked down upon. It didn't mean that you couldn't speak English. It just meant you chose to speak Spanish when you could or wanted to, or when it felt right. It didn't mean you were excluding anyone. And that's one of the things, Norma, I think we're learning. Now I hear more people saying, man, I wish I'd known. I wish I'd learned Spanish. I want to learn more Spanish. I want to learn another language. This is how we grow as people. So I think it's pretty interesting news about those numbers. So what do you ladies and gentlemen think? And again, the diversity, Norma, I think is not only a reality. Diversity is here. It's how we handle it moving forward. The last little topic, Norma, we've been talking about our top 5. Almost every show we have our top 5. And today, we left this from yesterday, we're going to present our top 5 boxers of all time. Norma, I am a gentleman most of the time, so I will get you set up so you can give us your list of top 5 boxers. Norma, take it away.
Well, thanks, Alex, for letting me go first. So I appreciate it.
Sure, whatever.
I'm just waiting for the list to come. Hold on.
It's there, Norma. You need to learn the tap dance more.
No, I know. I told you I get delayed.
You need to pay for that Wi-Fi, Norma. It might help.
Okay, so my number 5 is Triple G. You can never go wrong with Triple G, right?
I agree.
Do you like him, Alex?
He's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
yeah,
punch.
Triple G.
Yeah.
Yeah. At number 4, Ryan Garcia. He's a young man, upcoming boxer, promoted with Oscar De La Hoya. I really like Ryan. He's got this character that he's pretty tough. So I'm excited to see more fights, with him and his opponents for upcoming.
So what's number 3? A tie?
Well, Alex, boxing. This was really hard for me. When you asked me to pick my top 5, I'm like, oh, I love every boxer, just because of the fact, how boxing is for me.
Yes, you're a
I
big
love the
fan.
sport. It's a hard sport. I give it to these people that do box because it's all on them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a time Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, Alex. I mean, come on, they're legends, right?
Absolutely,
They have to be
are.
part of your top 5.
Right. I know you've met George a few times, Norma. So.
Yes,
Right?
yeah, great man. And then Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, I grew up. That's how I got into boxing with my dad. He used to watch those boxing matches with Chavez all the time.
Sure.
And so he's a legend as well. And then my number 1,
Another tie.
another Taiwan Diaz and Jenny Fuchs. And I have to say, the reason why they're my number 1 is 'cause I work with them. If I didn't make them my top, Alex,
You would never work with him again.
I would never work with them. So they have to be my top boxers.
That's a pretty good list, Norma. I think
Yeah.
I may agree on with some of those.
Really?
Yeah. And
Okay.
maybe not a lot of them, maybe not
Okay.
all of them, but certainly some of
Okay.
them. All right, so let me
Let's see yours.
let me hit you with my top 5. Number 5,
Okay.
Teofilo Stevenson. I don't know if any of you know this Cuban Olympian. He was always an amateur, by the way. At least 3 gold medals, but he was also not able to participate because of boycotts, at least in 2 Olympics. But Teofilo Stevenson, a heavyweight, Norma, to me, are tremendous. And I love saying that name, Teofilo Stevenson. It just works for me. Number 4, Floyd Mayweather Jr. We can hate him or we can love him as a personality, but his boxing record speaks for itself. To me, he was always there motivating us to watch, right? And to criticize. Number 3, Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. I love the Roberto Duran attitude, the style, the controversy. When he said no más and he said he was done. So to me, Panamanian Roberto Duran in my top 5. And I, just like you, Norma, couldn't decide on 1. So there's a tie for first place with Juan the Baby Bull Diaz and Virginia Ginny Fuchs, who, yes, for full disclosure, we know as friends, I believe, and we work with. So they are tremendous. But Norma, it wasn't easy. I'm with you. This is a category where I could have named 15, 20 people easily that we like, that I like.
I know that was hard for me, Alex. I mean, I wanted to give you 10, but I know you said top 5. I mean, Floyd Mayweather, yeah. I was gonna add him. He's a good entertainer too, you know, because you always want to see how he's gonna come out, with his music, and of course, him talking smack and about his opponent, etc. And I always like on HBO where they did the 24/7, where they kind of did the show leading up to the fight. I mean, I always look forward to that because you kind of see how they're training, you kind of see what they're thinking about their opponent, what they're eating, their lifestyle, their family. I missed that, the 24/7, and again, going back to missing some boxing right now. But hopefully, after all this COVID stuff, we'll get to see more.
Who was left off the list, Norma? I mean, Oscar De La Hoya, who we talked about yesterday.
Oscar De La Hoya.
I mean, he is right there to me. To be honest with you, I mean, you're number 3. You mentioned George Foreman and Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. Obviously, they're not only boxing legends, but they're social icons. Muhammad Ali, what he said, what he stood for, the respect he received for the stands he took in life is something to behold, to be honest with you. So any others in your mind, Norma, that maybe you could have had on that list?
Cotto would have been another one just because I saw him live and I felt bad for him, Let me think of who else. Um,
Any heavyweights? I mean, there's been so many heavyweights. Leon Spinks. Of course, Mike Tyson, Norma, should be on that
yeah,
list, right?
I know. I mean,
Look, I'm sure we're going to get criticized, and someone's going to say, are you guys
well,
idiots? You don't know anything
right.
about boxing." There are so many. It's tough to pick five.
And Canelo, I mean, I mean, the list can go on, Alex. That's the thing. You only limited me to five. So
Yeah. The Klitschko family. I mean, there's so many. There's so many. So if you guys agree or disagree with our list, let us know and drop us a. Is that an IM, Norma? Is that an instant message or no? That wouldn't be correct. It's just a comment.
that's fine.
It's just a comment.
Leave us a comment.
Okay. You see, I don't know what's going on.
You were trying to be hip and happening, but that's okay.
It ain't happening.
It ain't happening.
It ain't happening. Norma, women's boxing. We mentioned Ginny Fuge, but who is the most well-known women's boxer? Is it Muhammad Ali's daughter, maybe?
Well, you know Clarissa Shields, right?
Sure.
That she's trying to call out Muhammad Ali's daughter. Why am I going blank on her name?
Is it Aaliyah? Aaliyah?
Oh my gosh, Alex, why am I going blank on her name?
Well, we can Google it, Norma. That's our safety net right there.
That is, but Clarissa Shields is calling her out, wants to fight her, and she's saying, basically, Clarissa wants to fight her, and I think that would be a good fight to watch.
Sure.
That would definitely be a good fight to watch. Clarissa right now is a young athlete, of course.
Is it
Olympian.
Layla Ali? Am I right?
Layla Ali. How did I go blank on that?
How dare you?
Layla Ali. I know.
If my brain got it, Norma. It's called
From
it's
a
called
boxing
Google.
expert to non-boxing expert. I mean, come on, Layla Ali.
Yeah, Norma. Comments are coming in. You just lost your credibility, Norma. What the F are you talking about, Norma?
But anyways, yes. I mean, I'd like to see that. I definitely would like to see that fight.
So that was a tough one. That'd be like the top 5 soccer players, Norma, of all time. That would be a hard one for me too, because there are so many. I mean, literally at that point, and maybe that'll be our next one for tomorrow. You can break down by era. You can break down by club versus national team. You can break that down by male and female. You can break that down by all kinds of categories. I mean, maybe that's the way. Maybe it should have been American boxers, American male boxers, American female boxers, Olympians, heavyweights. We could do it by weight class. That would be another division or a way to make it a little bit easier to present. But
because tomorrow, if you say tomorrow's gonna be your top 5, best soccer players, I mean, I'm gonna have to say my kids are gonna have to be number 1. Because if they watch this show, they'll be like, "Why didn't you pick me? I play soccer."
Well, I hope you force them to watch the show. Otherwise, Norma, we need the ratings.
We need the ratings.
We need the ratings. You have no idea, Norma. The electricity bill is huge here. We need the ratings. So there you go. That was the top 5 for today. Norma, would we ever expand this to top 10? To kill more time, or is 5 enough?
I guess it depends, because if you ask me if, cornhole, your top 5 cornhole athletes, I'd have a hard time coming up with athlete names, actually.
The bags.
I guess it depends on what the sport is or what the topic is.
I agree. I think if there were some other sports, rowing or surfing, that may be a little bit. I certainly would be a little limited about what I could come up with there. But anyway, that's something we like to talk about, our top cinco, as we call it here on the show. Norma, going back to our top story, which was the Kat Osterman soundbite and the softball team that basically not only walked out of that team, quit, but they did it en masse. Do you think there would be a movement, Norma, with the NFL, with the NBA, where they would refuse to play because of some offensive remarks? Meaning, what's higher now in people's mind? Political, social issues, or I'm going to say this, doing the job you're being paid for?
Well, I guess we look at it. What does their agreement say? What, you know what I mean?
Sure.
If they're contracted, and they need to go by what they stand for. But if they talk to their agent and their lawyer, and they say, well, if you want to do that, but your contract says this, we may have to be careful.
Right.
So I think it goes a little more in depth in regards to that. Maybe. I don't know, Alex. I mean, there's people that are going to stand by what they want, and maybe they can probably go somewhere else, just like Kaepernick, right?
Sure.
Now, yeah, he wasn't able to get picked up, but now people are wanting to pick him up. So I don't know. I guess they should. I don't know. It's again what you said earlier with the baseball players, the softball players. They're probably not contracted, but you have these high-profile athletes that have those contracts, and maybe they won't do it in mass. Maybe they kind of, I don't know. That's a good question.
In certain sports, Norma, like in Major League Baseball, the union or the Players Association, the way it's presented is that they are partners with the owners. And one of the discussions has always been, well, the owners may own and make the money, but we're the ones that are bringing in the money. So there's a constant negotiation, let's use that word. Maybe another word is fight, about who's really the most important and who gets the money. And I think my point is, at what point do you, and it's these analogies have been used, that the owners are the plantation owners and the slaves are the athletes. It's hard to feel bad for someone making millions of dollars, but I understand it when the owners are making billions of dollars. And is that fair, Norma, for an employee, which is what they are, to demand that equality? When it comes to the business side, I'm sure the respect hopefully should be there, even though people disagree. And I think there's a third partner in all of this, Norma, which is the fans. And I think that's what's going to be very interesting coming out of COVID. Number one, as you know, it'll be slow the way fans are able to reintegrate, rejoin the sporting world, if you will. And eventually, do you think being too political, do you think being too outspoken, Norma, is going to turn people off? You think someone like LeBron James is going to think twice before he makes his comments? Or is he going to immediately start criticizing, I don't know, presidential candidates? And when he does that, he's going to alienate X amount of fans who will say, you know what, I'm not buying that jersey anymore. I'm not paying for that ticket. So is it good business to be political? I'm waiting.
I know, Alex. I mean, I think everyone should have their opinion, but of course, these athletes and even singers, they have the bigger platform. They have the bigger audience.
Right.
So whatever they say is going to reflect on them, and of course, they're going to have people that are going to agree with them and don't agree with them. Look at Taylor Swift, right? She's not
an NBA player.
Well, no. I mean, she's not into sports, but she, like, the last few years had been a little bit more outspoken about politics,
Sure.
about voting, about, a lot of things. And, she lost some fans, but she's still big. I'm sure she's not losing money. And I don't think, with LeBron James was a little bit more outspoken and political, I don't think he's going to lose a lot of fan base. I think right now a lot of people know at this point that these high profile, professional athletes are probably going to have an opinion just like everybody else. I think this is a time that people are going to be more outspoken. So it's kind of like the norm. And I think now, like for me, I think it's not going to be a shocker if someone comes out and says something political, because everybody else is talking politics at this point.
Correct. And maybe, we don't know the conclusion of this. Maybe that's a good thing, Norma. I know in the past it was, shut up and play. Literally.
Yeah.
Just I don't want to hear you. I'm here paying you money to entertain me. I don't like that.
Also image
Please.
too, right? They want to keep their image, right? They want to keep that image of just before just being a great
Sure.
athlete, and that was it. So
Sure. Well, Norma, because it's a business, and if you have a
Right.
certain image, and look at some of the greatest NBA players. Let's look at some of them. Michael Jordan. Have you ever heard Michael Jordan talk politics? No, he does
No.
that consciously. Why? Because he's a multi-billion-dollar business. Have you ever seen Tiger Woods talk about who he's voting for president? I don't believe I have. Maybe I'm wrong. Why? Because they are protecting their image. I think we have to be respectful of that as well. Again, I don't think they're dummies, and certainly their brand benefits from being apolitical, being neutral, and saying, you know what, whatever you guys want to do, I'm here to play golf. I'm here to play basketball, and I don't want to get into it. The problem I'm seeing, Norma, is if you're taking that position these days, you're being accused of not doing enough, of not taking a stand, of not having a voice, or back to the thing we've discussed almost every day on the show. You're either with me or you're against me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. If right now with so many people talking politics, people will say, well, why isn't LeBron talking more? He should be talking more about Black Lives Matter. And
Sure.
So it's, again, either they're going to like it or they're not going to like it. So, they can't lose, they can't win on stuff like this, Alex. So
yeah, I don't think you can, and I think we've gotten to the point in time where our let's use the term sports culture has gotten us to that point. That the forum is there, like you said, the microphone, the attention, the coverage is there, so that and also, Norma, let's be honest with you, like anything else, there are people better suited to present their point of view. Better, I mean, is maybe they're more eloquent about it versus others that aren't, and can't better communicate that. And I think my point is we have to be respectful, even if someone maybe doesn't find the best way to say something. At least they have a voice. So these are tricky times, Norma. These are interesting times. Never in my 25 years covering sports have I ever seen so much talk in sports about social injustice, about politics, about race, about equality. And I think we're going to find in a few years that this was an overall positive step. How do you see that, Norma? After all maybe said and done, maybe for the 2023 World Cup in New Zealand, maybe we're on the plane over to Sydney, Norma, we can say, remember the Deportes Nation show and how we talked about political conversation? Do you think this is good for our society and our sports culture?
I think so. Like what I said before, before we didn't have this social media stuff, so a lot of the stuff really wasn't as public because now everybody could have this at their fingertip at any time, and people can express their feelings more on social media within a second. And the thing is with political and sports, with them having the profiles and, if they got it and if they feel strongly about it, why not? Why couldn't they have a political view? They've got the platform, and again, that goes back, nobody's always going to agree, but everybody has the right to express their opinion. And of course, I go both ways, but, I think everybody has their opinion on it, Alex.
Is it time to speak out, Norma? A lot of the conversation and comments I've seen and read and heard have been, being silent is no longer an option. We have to speak up about injustice. We have to speak up about the many things that are affecting our country. Now is the time. Is it just because it happens to be a political year and we have a sitting precedent that's controversial? Or do you think genuinely all of these things, including COVID-19, maybe have brought this to a boiling point?
I think it's a lot. I think it's all that, Alex. I mean, yeah, you have Trump it's every day we're hearing something, right, going on. Maybe what he said, what he's tweeting. I mean, I think he's probably one of the first presidents that has tweeted a lot.
Oh yeah, no, that's his MO. That's how he works.
Compared to every other president, again, so that goes back to how our social media works these days, right? So he can tweet whatever he wants within a second, and it's public to millions of people within seconds.
And he knows that. I give him credit, and forgive me for interrupting you. I give him credit, Norma, for controlling the conversation. He can literally send out a tweet and there are millions of people talking about it, but please finish.
Yeah, but and that's the thing is that with that, and then with COVID, and this George Floyd, there's just a lot of things going on, and I think with that, this is the reason why at this time it's just political is just a hot topic right now.
It is
very hot,
It
you
is.
know.
Now,
and of course, right now with COVID, we're not, I mean, we're still trying to get back to normal, but there was that period where we're at home and all you could do was really watch TV and be on social media. So I think a lot of people are more engaged of what's going on. So yeah, I think that's probably the reason why, Alex.
Do you ever get tired of it, Norma? Do you ever shut it off and say, you know what, I'm finding myself at some point, social media and the traditional television, radio media saying, look, enough. I get your point, and you keep making it over and over again. Maybe it's like this show. I get it, Uncle Alex. Move on.
I do sometimes have to do like a social media or / media detox every once in a while.
A cleanse. I call it a cleanse.
Just like a cleanse, just, to a point, when this whole COVID thing was started, my anxiety started running a little higher than normal. And I'm like, you know what? I can't watch it. I can't look at social media for a day or two. I've got to kind of sit back and just focus on something else, and I'll come back to it later. They say with politics, you'll see the same thing, you hear the same thing on both sides, and sometimes I'm not going to listen to it today. I'm going to take a break. I think sometimes we all need a break, Alex, with social media.
We do, Norma. Quickly, before we wrap up the show, I had a knock on my door a few days ago. By the way, our doorbell works now, Norma, so I'm very excited about that. I think I did that intentionally. That way, if somebody rang the doorbell, I couldn't hear them. But someone came to the door. Ding dong. That's ding dong. Maybe that's another one. Yes, that was the bell. And it was a gentleman who handed me a bag with all kinds of goodies from a political candidate. And my initial response was, thank you for doing this. I don't know who this candidate is necessarily, meaning I'm not endorsing he or she. I'm not for or against he or she. But I appreciate you taking the time to do this. You must be a supporter and believe in this cause. And he turned to me and said, you're one of the few people that tell me that. Most people tell me to get off their lawn and not do that. We are getting to that point, Norma, where politics is in your face. Yeah. I'm going to say this, again, equating something like religion. Many, even now, I'll have, in my neighborhood at least, vans pull up on a Sunday morning, 20 people get out, and they go door to door pushing their religious agenda. Is this the same, Norma, that we're not going to have our streets doing this and people coming? And is that the way to spread the message, Norma, by getting in people's, not in their face? It didn't come across like that to me. I was respectful of him. I was actually glad he was taking a stand in the process. I may not agree with it, or I may agree with it. That's my decision. But are we getting to that point, Norma, where, and you and I live this, we're going to go to a soccer field and there's going to be someone, a Make American Great hat and a T-shirt, and they're going to say, woo, you better vote. And then we can agree or disagree with that person.
Yeah, again, it goes back. People have their own opinion, Alex. I mean, I haven't had anybody knock on my door for politics yet. I may have had once or twice.
Well, that shotgun in the front door scares most of us, Norma.
I mean, I had more religious than politics.
God's trying to tell you something, Norma.
But I was actually here in the Katy area not too long ago. Do you recall that?
Who was?
Beto O'Rourke.
Beto O'Rourke. Yes, he did come here for a rally. Yes.
Yeah, so he was knocking on doors for a while.
He may be knocking for a little while longer, Norma. He didn't get elected.
No, I think he was helping another candidate within the area, Alex, at that point.
And did it help that candidate in this part of the world? No, look. Well, anyway, we can talk about Beto O'Rourke later.
Yeah, don't be a hater, Alex.
I'm not.
Are you a hater?
I'm not a hater.
Okay.
I'm not a hater. He had a good run. He almost pulled off something that would have been, I think, amazing. I think eventually the state of Texas is heading blue, Norma. That really is my opinion.
You think so?
I do. It may take us 30, 40 years, but eventually it will be there. Norma, we're at the end. They're telling us it's time to get off the air. So what do you see for tomorrow, Norma? Friday apparently are big nights for us. So we got to get ready for our Friday night show.
Yeah, Friday happy hour, you know. Maybe our followers will follow us tomorrow night, and we should have some good topics tomorrow.
We hope so. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and we really appreciate all of you that tune in to watch us, that at least every so often glance at your phone and say, oh, look, the dude's still there with that lady that I don't know what she's doing on the show with that guy. But we really do appreciate it. We'll have one more show to wrap up the week tomorrow evening. Comments, questions, send them our way. And Norma, I'll let you close up, but on my behalf, thank you for joining us. And Norma, thank you. You do a great job. Take us home, Norma.
Yeah, same to you, Alex. So everybody have a good night, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.